Weigh in. He sits on the House Oversight Committee. Tennessee Congressman Tim Burchett back on the program. Tim, how about it? There's only a handful of Republicans in the Senate and a few dozen of you in the House who are actually clamoring for Mayorkas to be impeached, but I don't think there's enough numbers. What the hell's wrong with these people? Do they not see the numbers every day? Do they not see the crime, the drugs, the trafficking, the invasion? Have they not seen the video of Border Patrol agents and guardsmen being attacked and pushed back from a bunch of militant-age men just rushing our border? How much more evidence do they need that Mayorkas is a traitor to his country?
Obviously, don't need any more, Dan. Obviously, the situation is that they fear their party here in Washington more than they fear the folks back home. Folks back home know what's going on. We've got 10 to 14 million folks in our country. We don't know where they are. I thought it was pretty telling last week that Commissioner Wray of the FBI kept talking about FISA being the biggest threat to national security when he failed to mention our border. And, we've had, you and I have talked about this multiple times. You have people that are known terrorists come over our border and nothing happens. And then Mayorkas just lies under oath. And we're all border towns. We are all border towns. You know it. I live in Tennessee. We see it there. We see the fentanyl. We see the murder. We see the crime. We see all of it. And yet we see these left-wing, gutless Marxists that are in Washington, elected officials, won't stand up to this guy. It's just unbelievable.
It is. It is. It's so disheartening. I mean, and we're seeing it every single day. There's more video evidence for the American people to digest and for you lawmakers to witness and not do anything. In my backyard, this past weekend, because I live in San Diego, show them the video from Carlsbad, California. If you know this place, Tim, Carlsbad, beautiful, beautiful oceanfront city. It's just north of San Diego, about 30 minutes. Here's a boat. As legal American citizens are enjoying their day at the beach in Carlsbad, this boat just zooms up, and I counted them, 20 people jump off a little 18-foot boat, obviously coming from Mexico, and then running up, going right in between, multi-million-dollar homes and businesses and whatever. There's the lifeguards. They, of course, can't do anything. And I'm sure if there were cops there, they're not allowed to do anything because it's California. But this is happening everywhere because Lord knows where those 20 people are now. There was a vehicle in another clip that was waiting up top, a black GMC SUV, that took almost all 20 of them and drove off. I mean, this is a coordinated effort, Tim, from the NGOs that are taking my tax money, working with them in foreign countries first, giving them directions and all the stuff they need to get in. We've already heard all the stuff about down in the Darien Gap in Panama and elsewhere, Ecuador, El Salvador, Mexico, where the NGOs, Catholic charities, and all these ones that you all vote for and give them money, every year they get federal dollars, they're down there right now giving these people a working map. Here's how you get into America illegally, but it's okay, and then we'll take care of you once you're on the other side. I don't know, you guys always say, cut off the purse strings, cut off the purse strings. Can we cut off some damn purse strings to some of these NGOs that are funding this garbage?
No, they're gutless, Dan. You know it, and I know it. The American public knows it. That's why these elections come around every couple of years. I hope we vote these guys and gals out. I don't care what party they're in. This is ridiculous. We played footsie with this bunch. The American public knows it's going on. It's $400 billion a year that we're paying out of pocket to keep this bunch up. That's in our country illegally. Dan, it's highway robbery. I mean, we're spending the money as fast as we can print it, but man, we're almost past the point of being able to do that now.
Yeah, what are we at? 34 trillion today? I don't even know what trillion we're at. 34 trillion. Great.
Yes. Well, you can figure every 100 days another trillion comes on in debt. So,
wow.
But yeah, to me, it's just mind-boggling, and I do not understand why America doesn't rise up and make the difference on Election Day. Yeah. We know if kidding. Trump gets in and doesn't have the majority in the House or the Senate, immediate impeachment, we know we'll be bogged down in that again. So I hope America wakes up and we save our country.
That's a great point. Did you hear what he said, folks? If we don't take the House with a bigger gap than we have now, because we're down to one, but we only had, 6 or 7 anyway. If we don't take that House with a bigger majority and take the Senate back by at least 2, okay? Because then we know we'll have the VP in there as the head of the Senate. We need to take it back by 2, and then Trump will have a working body that he can move with. Almost out of time, Tim. We spent a lot on immigration, but I got to ask you this, with everything that's blowing up over in the Middle East. We have Feckless Joe warning Iran over the weekend, don't, and then they still do. They lob 30 rockets and missiles and drones at Israel, our biggest ally in the region. And then he also tells Bibi last week, Netanyahu, don't do anything either. So he tells both sides to don't while he funds both sides. And luckily, nobody got killed in Israel. But what do you think your response as a House member and the House of Representatives should be this week? Should there be some massive sanctions on Iran? Because I don't see the commander-in-chief doing it.
Under Trump, remember, they were bankrupt. Right now, they're doing over 2.5 million barrels a day. And who's the primary purchaser of those? China. You didn't have that under Trump because we had a strong leader. We do not have a strong leader. They do not fear anything. It's like Obama in Syria with that red line in the sand. They just stepped over it 4 or 5 times, just like they're doing now. And for Biden to warn Israel after this, to me, is beyond belief. So I think what we need to do is renew the sanctions, quit playing footsie with it, and tell the UN if they don't want it, let's just pull out of there too, because they have no guts. They're a toothless tiger. Again, we just keep paying everybody to come at our friends and our allies, and then we turn our back on our allies, which is what we're doing to Israel right now.
Yeah, it's pretty pathetic. It gives us a big black eye with our allies all across the world, not just in the region. Tim Burchett, as always, thank you, sir. Appreciate you.
Appreciate you, Dan. Let's hope that we have a clean spending bill. We just send the money, if we're going to do it, to Israel and not tie it to Ukraine.
Yeah, I heard that might happen this week, and we'll have more members on this week to discuss that. And I hope you all don't do that, tying more money with Ukraine to Israel aid. That does not need to happen. By the way, before we go, I got just reminded by my producer, Tim, you're going to have one of these show up to your office real soon. This is a little OAN censored packet. Oh, you got it already. Okay, good deal. So I'd like you to read that letter that Mr. Herring Sr. wrote to you specifically, all you members. It's also got some lovely letters in there from some of your colleagues in the House and the Senate. One of them happens to be the corrupt Senator Menendez, who signed that letter trying to get OAN taken off all platforms. So be sure to read the letter. Check out those letters that your friends, wink, wink, sent to all the advertisers and the satellite and cable carriers. And then please ask your friend, James Comer and Jim Jordan. We would love to see hearings later this year on what happened to OAN and how the hell they censored an entire network. Thank you, Tim. Appreciate you.
I'll be getting the letter out on that shortly. Thank you.
We appreciate you.